Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, looking at things behind the scenes, you don't need me. It's a cold evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Loppon here, and thank you so much for joining us for Mississippi Live Weather at 5 on what is a dreary, drizzly, and in some cases, sleety sort of day. There's a few little sleet pellets out there for a few spots. We'll touch on how that is going to work out with all of this coming up here in just a couple minutes from that room-to-room weather center. Of course, one of the things we're also looking ahead toward is just how much longer this cold air settles in and continues to stay in place. So clearly at this point, it is a cold and rainy evening, and we expect both of those things to stick around over the course of the next couple of hours. And I think into tonight, though, drier air moves in, and we're left with even colder weather ahead over the next couple of days here. Loads of clouds. And it's one of those things, we're kind of entering that dreary time of year anyway. Well, this pattern stays really dreary over the next few days. We'll have the very latest on just how long that is sticking around here in a minute. But you see the clouds. You can also see a barge there as we look out there at Helena, West Helena, Arkansas. And while the reporting station not reporting, you can see a little bit of glossiness showing up on that bridge there over the Mississippi River. Glossy, but we're above the freezing point there in all locations at this point. So travel good this evening across North Mississippi and Mississippi in general and far eastern Arkansas, though there are some spots out there in Arkansas. We are watching closely. More on that here in just a moment. Clarksdale right now looks like that reporting station also deciding to take the evening off as we show those mostly cloudy skies out there. Some patches of ponding there, as you can see on some of the vegetation from the rain that we have had out there today, which has remained moderate to light for the most part. Shelby, we're going to go over on all these Delta reporting stations. It looks like that one's also not showing, but just lighter variety rainfall, and you can see some of those droplets coming up on the screen there. And as we go to West Point, got one with data. 43 current temperature in West Point. Feels like 43 as well. Those winds relatively light at this point, but they will pick up behind a front that moves in the area and continues to kind of drop those temperatures even more going forward as we kind of have some drier air eventually kind of settling in. Pontotoc coming in 39 degrees, a bit more of a northerly wind showing up at that spot there with that feels like temperature at 36. So as we look at the first 12 here, again, the showers fairly widespread at this point here on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. They continue to diminish into tonight, but I think on the back edge of this shower activity, we're going to have a few little bits of sleet that mix in. Now, that will not, I think, cause any kind of travel issues. I think if you're watching going, we're going to school tomorrow, the answer is absolutely yes. Even some teachers I've had to make sure to inform them of that the last couple of days. It's going to be cold. It's going to be chilly. But by the time the coldest air gets here, below freezing temperatures, we're going to be dry at that point. Look at alerts at this point here. Winter weather advisories. All the counties in purple that we show here on this map in effect for tonight up there into Tennessee toward Jackson, back toward Little Rock. Some travel impacts in this purple area. And that's kind of the way these go. Winter weather advisory means you will have some travel impacts where those are in place. When you start talking winter storm warning, high-level travel impacts are likely. We don't have any of those winter storm warnings. As you can see, these purple counties all just outside the area at the very least. No locations in Mississippi under those at this point and time. Looking at Mississippi Live Weather Radar here, you'll note, again, we're in the green. And let's discuss what this pink here means for a moment. Anytime you see the pink on the radar here, that is going to be a mix. What does a mix mean? A mix means rain mixed with something else, especially here in the South. Most of the time, it's not more than that. It's just a rain kind of mixed with something else there. As we bring in a little closer here, look at our higher resolution of Mississippi Live Weather Radar. You'll note it does show how that mix having some snowfall with it back there out closer to Jonesboro, Arkansas locations back out into Arkansas there. But most of the kind of pink that you see here, that is going to be primarily rainfall or snow that's melting in the rainfall as opposed to something more significant than that. So kind of wider shot here is you'll notice the progression. I'll kind of put this and make this loop again here, make it a longer loop, make it a 3-hour loop here for a moment. You'll see again on our map there for just the briefest moment, we did have the potential for a couple of sleet pellets out in the Delta. Did have one report from the North Mississippi storm chasers out there of a little bit of sleet with that. But as you can see, the changeover back to the liquid form precipitation. That's what our winter threats here. We kind of analyze those different ones. But this is something we call the snow machine behind the scenes here. It allows us to kind of break down what is most likely out of this. And again, where you see that pink there, well, it says an ice mix. Ultimately, that's a mix of something that's primarily rainfall at this point. Mix, again, the important word anytime you see that there. And what do we not have here in North Mississippi? Anything of significance. Everything where you see the green there, it's rainfall. That is just about it out of that. And in some cases where it's heavier could add up to more, but certainly has not lingered long enough to be of a significant impact there. As you can see, while that says 2 inches an hour in the most aggressive scenario, it also says 2/10 on the lighter one below that. So not a lot of heavy or meaningful moisture out there. And the latest scans, again, on the wider shot here on Mississippi Live Weather Radar, continue to show the heaviest activity from this system down there closer to the Gulf Coast. If you were hoping for snowfall, and there's a certain demographic out there that does, I get it. What we look for is we look for this surface low to take kind of join up with our upper level low and kind of take a more of a northerly track than what we have here. Certainly not the case. That's why we find ourselves kind of in the zone where we have the rainfall, yes, but we don't have the coldest air to really tap into it, and we don't find ourselves in a major snowmaker. So for us, that is a non-issue, as you can see here across the entire Magnolia State. In fact, as you'll note, we keep it all in the green here on kind of the wide shot, and we'll look closer at some of this up in the north and west here in a minute. But I mean, if we just kind of look up there closer to, say, South Haven, Senatobia, you don't see a real changeover even on this here for our region. Not impossible to get where we get some of the yellow showing up on there to have a couple sleet pellets mix in, but by 3 o'clock in the morning, as you can see, primarily rainfall and all even mostly exiting by that point, leaving us predominantly dry by the time we head out to school and work early tomorrow morning on your Tuesday. So over the next 24 hours, precipitation mainly out of here at 6 o'clock in the morning, is out of here by 9 a.m. Look at these north winds at about 10 miles per hour. I'll take that 33 and knock it back into the 20s. And we'll look at those wind chills here in a minute. We're 39 by noon, 42 by 3 p.m. That's all we make it to for a high tomorrow. 42. Not a warm day, right? And I think we'll continue to keep it rather chilly over the course of the next couple of days here. That's one of the things we're looking up coming up here in 60 seconds is just how chilly, especially those low temperatures by the middle of the week. We could have some spots nearly in the teens. Really some pretty chilly stuff. We'll have more detail on that. We're also looking at our parade tracker. Hey, I was supposed to be out this evening. Unfortunately, the Boonville Christmas Parade has been forwarded the next week. That's where I was supposed to be. We're going to be trying to make it to more of these Christmas parades, but so far I'm 0 for 2, considering both have been postponed because of weather. We'll talk about that parade tracker for anybody out there planning your evening and everything else related to the weather over the course of this work week. Come up here in 60 seconds from our room-to-room weather center as Mississippi Live Weather continues right after this.
This roof's getting installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Oop. Hold on here. Punch the wrong button for a second. Let's go ahead and bring this back here. There we go. Outside in the Tupelo area, coming in 39 degrees on a chilly evening as we look out and about. It is cloudy and the rain is relatively light to moderate at really most. I have this focused in on our radar site out of the Memphis area up close to Millington, Tennessee, where again, there is that mix that does include some wintry stuff back here toward Jonesboro, Arkansas, maybe some flakes out there. And we're looking at temperatures. I think this is one of the important things to keep in mind anytime we're talking about this. It is cold, but you got to be a certain level of cold enough. and we're just not there as it's, predominantly chilly, but not extremely cold behind this. I'll just kind of query our map here again with temperatures low 40s here across North Mississippi. You got to go all the way back there to practically Jonesboro, Arkansas before you drop to the freezing point. So while it's possible we have a few things, a few flakes and things like that could fall later on tonight across North Mississippi, cold of significance enough to produce any meaningful winter accumulations. That's not what happens in this scenario here. Unfortunately for those folks hoping for a little bit of that. But for folks hoping to check out parades tonight, unfortunately that also did not happen. You see, looks like we have confetti falling because we couldn't get snow there. It is drizzly and wet enough. Again, the parade in Boonville kicked the next week. Tomorrow night's parade's probably in better shape. I show Houston, Eupora on the slate for tomorrow night. I think also Aberdeen on the slate there. We'll have to figure out which one of those we're going to be able to make it out to. Our Gabe Maynard checking behind the scenes here on whether or not New Albany on that there. Looks like we got a lot of them trying to, hit these holes where we are dry enough and clear enough to do something there. I'm sure he'll pop in with that information come up here in a couple minutes. But as you can see, certainly going to be chilly for any of your outdoor activities this evening. Drop-off temperature, we're going to be at the freezing point tomorrow morning. Our IMPC school day forecast has us 38 degrees as you get the kids out there for lunch and 41 by the final bell. So a day where it never warms up. It is cold all day. And everyone's, I'm sure, trying to do what they can to stay mild and warm. We're coming in, looking at road temperatures right now. And this is part of the reason why, again, nothing going to stick out there is we're above freezing on the road. So even if you were to see a few sleet pellets, and that's possible tonight, that later on you have a couple of flakes that are picturesque, or you see a few sleet pellets, but the actual road temperatures themselves well above the freezing point, and that making it to where that plus the air temperature struggled to get anything down here to try to stick. So, not the case again this time around, but something, of course, to reference there. Mid-30s back in the northwest part of the state. And that's the thing. Like, you can get a snowflake or two to survive with those mid-30s out there. I think a lot of this up in the clouds starting off as snowflakes is just melting before it gets down here close to the surface. So, 7 p.m. tonight, widespread rainfall, maybe a rumble with a couple of these showers, a little heavier down here south of Hollandale and toward Belzona by around 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. But what you see, honestly, I think some of the yellow showing up here, it's much more likely to have a couple of sleet pellets mixed in with primarily rainfall. So if you hear a change in noise in the way it sounds on the roof, that's probably what you're hearing. Maybe a couple of sleet pellets, but it all is going to melt because, again, we're above freezing on the ground levels and down here close to the surface. Elevated surfaces we'll watch, and certainly that's why there is that winter weather advisory for locations there west of Memphis out into Arkansas, close to Wynn and Forest City and locations there. But if we're watching for you in Olive Branch there in West Helena, where we're looking at the top of the show there, notice how even on Futurecast, it takes all those pinks and blues and they're out of here by the time this line moves in. That's not to say that the heaviest of these don't produce a couple little sleet pellets, but I'm not expecting there to be any kind of travel issues related to that as this sort of shifts into and through the area. As drier air moves in, though, you can see we're dry again by your morning commute on your Tuesday. For the most part, at least, certainly the western portion of the area completely dry. Still probably some damp roadways, Macon or Columbus. But if you're worried about those damp roadways having some issues, you can see we're above freezing point for those low temperatures. We will have dropped out here for Tunica at 27 by tomorrow morning, 27 degrees Senatobia. But the winds behind this strong enough, you can see an adjustment there on our wind chill temperatures down in the low 20s. That tells us, again, we have enough wind. That wind acts kind of like a hairdryer to dry out the roads in this scenario. That's why most of them should be in perfectly good shape tomorrow, despite the fact that we drop actual temperatures to below freezing out here for many spots, such as Grenada or Water Valley, maybe even Bruce. But wind chill temperatures for bundling yourself and the kiddos up, that's probably the more important number out there, and clearly they are not going to be particularly warm. As we go through the day on your Tuesday, again, widespread clouds, but all the rainfall out of here 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and we don't expect any behind it. Those north winds do continue, and so that wind chill temperature is going to struggle to make it out of the 30s. In fact, I think it'll probably still feel like it's the middle to upper 30s, even at noontime on your Tuesday, and keeping it chilly feeling as we progress into the afternoon as well. 2, 3, 4 o'clock, though, locked in the clouds. Cloudy plus windy, it's going to be a downright chilly day. So layer up the kids, make sure that you have the thick ones on, the gloves, important, as well as covering up that face there to try to keep you extra warm. High temperatures, not particularly high, right? Normal this time of year comes in 59. Instead, we're going to be only 42 in Tupelo, 41 degrees New Albany, 38 South Haven, 39 that high temperature for your Holly Springs area. I mean, that's pretty where we should be for low temperatures. That's why I was so tempted to say that there. This is low temperature territory for early Tuesday morning. And as we go toward Tuesday night, we do start to clear things out. That clearing and how quickly we clear comes back to just how absolutely chilly you'll be by early Wednesday morning. Notice how some of that cloud cover does just kind of try to linger a little bit there. If it broke up a little more quickly, that would help us to drop a little bit more. But I think there's just enough there that it kind of holds those temperatures more mild than they otherwise would be for early Wednesday morning. Still, are they mild? Not particularly. 21, that low temperature in Water Valley. Houston, 21, 20 in Bruce there. That's right, we chickened out, didn't put any teens on there. But I wouldn't be shocked to have some car or bank thermometers out there in the teens. And it's obviously going to be really chilly for early Wednesday morning. Wind chill temperatures come in almost the same value as the actual temperatures. There should be less wind. And so that, again, calming wind helps those temperatures to drop that extra bit as well. So look at those wind chills. As you can see, low 20s out there to begin the first part of a Wednesday. As we go throughout your Wednesday, high temperatures probably in the low 50s. Again, partly cloudy skies most of the day, no precipitation out of there. Upper 40s showing up for Holly Springs, Senatobia, Tunica, as well as Clarksdale. And again, say it again, way below that 58 we should expect for this time of the year. Only 51 Tupelo and 48 degrees in Red Bay and Iuka. Our next front behind this one on the way in for your Wednesday night, you can see that kind of coming in. It does not have the same fanfare of moisture that this one had. It's just not attached to a same repository of moisture down to the south of us. So as you'll note, we do have some moisture kind of coming up with this, and you can see enough activity there that we're not that far removed from what would be some rumbles showing up there, maybe some storms down to the south. Let's bring in our full Mississippi view on this here for a moment. Down toward Baton Rouge and Jackson, yeah, rumbles. Maybe a couple stronger thunderstorms that way. But for us in the northern part of the state, this is mainly light to maybe moderate rainfall. And yes, some of that does stick around for your morning commute on early Thursday morning. With the added moisture, we're milder for Thursday morning, as we're mid-30s out there for Tupelo and Amory, coming about 40 in Greenwood, Belzona 41, 42 degrees in Greenville, 33 though Red Bay and Tishmingo. And as those showers gradually shift on out of here, it takes into the probably midday time period for that to happen. We get stuck again with clouds, and those cool northerly breezes just can't completely shake those as we kind of set things up to continue this below normal pattern all the way really from the first part of last week through the weekend and into this upcoming week. Temperatures well below what we typically expect for this time of year. But as you saw a moment ago there, the showers that we had, we're talking about everything liquid again there for your Thursday, Friday, same story as well. And keeping again those temperatures of our normal lows, 38. We get closer to that by Saturday and Sunday, but still running a little bit below that normal, and even high temperatures running a little below the upper 50s we typically should expect to see for this time of the year. Even into this upcoming weekend, looking dry at this point here through that time frame as well. But the next couple days, I mean, come on, 42 on Tuesday, never feels that warm. 22 early Wednesday morning. Definitely some chilly weather for both of those. I'm going to check out our chat here. We have going on Facebook and YouTube and all those other different types of social media. Kind of checking in with everybody there. A lot of folks watching. Yes, got rid of the beard here. No shave November over. But a reminder, folks, again, the reason why I grew that beard is because men are not always smart when it comes to health. Make sure to get those healthy use, those checkups scheduled. We do a lot of things to provide for our families. Let's make sure that we're here to keep doing that. And part of that is taking care of our bodies and making sure that we get those checkups that are age appropriate. Prostate scans, of course, where No Shave November originally came from, and something to get on the calendar no matter how unpleasant it sounds like. It's important to screen for those sorts of things. My father-in-law had that. That's the reason I, again, support those with that. So again, looking back here, I'm going to bring back the Mississippi Live Weather Radar for a moment. Again, some folks asking, about kind of what's out there at this time. I'm going to kick this back over into our winter weather mode here for a second. And just to kind of clarify what we're looking at here for a second, I'm going to clear everything off of the screen. Again, this is all lighter variety rainfall, primarily. Where I see this specific look here, and I'm going to put on a bunch of other returns we typically don't necessarily show, just to kind of illustrate this, where you see, kind of what you have out here toward Oxford and Olive Branch there, that is all snowfall aloft. That particular shape, the reason it looks kind of elongated like that, that's all snow, starting off a snowfall loft. It's just melting by the time it gets closer to the surface. So for those folks that are looking at Ripley or Corinth or Boonville or Tupelo, I mean, it's not impossible. What we have up here is also snowfall if you go up high enough as well, and it melts before it gets to the surface. But our temperatures are above freezing down here at the surface, and that is limiting just how much we can get to try to fall. But yeah, all the wintry stuff up to the north. So for folks hoping for better there, unfortunately, not going to be the case this time around here. But again, I thank all of you guys for supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather. If you are watching us on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, or all the other different places out there where it's possible to watch us, highly encourage you to download the Mississippi Live Weather app. It's going to be good, obviously, any time of the year, but certainly when we go through the more active times of the year. Free and available for all those different devices. I'm talking about the mobile app here, but we have one for Roku as well. If you just search on Apple TV or Roku for Mississippi Live, well, you can have it on that normal big screen like you have. Very convenient way, of course, to watch us. And we are live here every night at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. in the evening from the Room to Room Weather Center. Myself, our meteorologist Gabe Maynor, who's behind the scenes here, continuing to help us out tonight, make sure that we're all good to go there. And then tomorrow morning, 6:37, 7:30 a.m., our meteorologist Maggie McCauley with updates here and the very latest information to keep you and your family prepared if there are any sort of travel issues. We do not expect those. She'll have updates for you in the morning on that. And we'll have any updates related to this whole forecast coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Couple things we're looking at 6 p.m. here. Again, we've really seen the cloud cover dig in. We'll look at that in the extended forecast as well. And just, the very latest related to some of this active weather back to the west, whether we can see some pictures and things like that of some more active weather. You can spit those in the weather app as well. So keep it here for the latest. We'll see you at 6.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.
One in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.